Stand all amazed on page 193, and then we'll have an invitation by Tanner Hennessy.
very grateful that we can gather here today as friends and family of Mima and celebrate her life. Please bless us so we can feel comforted in knowing that she is no longer in pain and she is reuniting with family that has passed before us. We love her so very much, and we're grateful for all the time that we were able to spend with her and the memories that we've created and that we'll be able to take with us for the rest of our lives. Again, we're so very grateful we could celebrate Mima today, and we love you so very much, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Next, Miranda Hennessy will do the life sketch. We'll have memories by the granddaughters, Miranda McKinley, Racing Sarai. Then memories by the grandsons, Jake, Chet, and Mitch. Then a musical number by her great-granddaughters, Rose, Julie, and Casey. I am a child of God. And we'll hear from the speaker, Mary Judy, and then appreciation of life will be from Ryan and Paul. Let's receive it.
Martha Sue Beckner Roche. It is with great sadness that we must tell you the passing of our beloved Mima on January 7th, 2023. Martha Sue Beckner Roche was born on February 27th, 1948, in Brigham City, Utah, to Fawn Maxine Cummings and Vaughn Bickmore. She was 74 years young. Mom was born into a family of 9 children, 6 sisters and 2 brothers. Her sisters have always been a huge part of her life and brought years of joy, love, and laughter. Some of her happiest moments were spent the Pink Mafia, solving all the world's problems and finishing each other's sentences. As a child, Mima grew up in Orchid, California, in a beautiful little town that allowed for an idyllic childhood filled with many friends and adventures. When Mima was 13, her family moved back to Brigham City. After high school, she returned to California to earn her beautician license in 1968. Martha met Dutch on a visit home, where she was only supposed to stay for a week, but never returned to California to stay. Martha married Elton Dutch Roche on January 16, 1970, in Elko, Nevada. Driving through 18 inches of snow to get there, just barely arriving on time to get married before they closed. Mom got credit for having one of the first stop signs put in Corinne to slow her down when waiting through Corinne. Our Mima was made of many talents that she freely shared with all of us. She could fix anything, from washing machine to the truck to even helping with the tractors. If you needed something done, you called Mima. She even helped remodel Ryan's house, from the plumbing to the sheetrock. She loved a good project. One of Mima's greatest talents was her ability to sew anything. She was always making us clothes for special occasions, recovering furniture, and tying quilts. These gifts she has shared with many of us. Her love for reading and old antiques has been passed on through the generations. But most of all, Mima was an exceptional wife and mother. She cared deeply for her family. She did this not out of obligation, but because that's who she was. She was always the first to offer help, a kind word, and the best advice, and a listening ear. She never gave up on us and set us straight in her loving way. We will miss her quick wit and good nature, always looking for the best in others. It'd be wrong to say that Mima lost her battle because she never stopped fighting. No matter how sick she was always determined. When anyone else would have broken, she stayed strong. Through her, we know what resilience and preservation truly look like. There was no quit in Mom. Just because she's no longer here doesn't mean she lost her fight. Her spirit kept her pushing through and is an example to all of us. Hero doesn't even begin to describe her. She was always there to catch us when we fell and cheer us up when we stood tall. Those sparkling blue eyes, big smile, never quit attitude. Martha leaves behind her loving husband, Dutch, her daughter Paula, with Clint, her son Brian, 8 grandchildren, 5.5 great-grandchildren, her brothers Tim, Steve Bickmore, Shamron, Leanne, Mary, and Rhonda, and Leon and Sandra, her brother and sister-in-law. Martha is preceded in death by her parents, Vaughn and Maxine Bickmore, her sisters Marjorie and Donna, and Reva and Marion Roche, her sister-in-law Jeannie and Kathy. We want to express our sincere, heartfelt appreciation to all those who have taken care of and loved our Mima. With a special thanks to Agis Home Care Hospice, Aunt Mary, and Luann for Mary, and our dear dad and grandpa for our outstanding care of our sweet Mima. Some of my memories of Mima, one of them, we'd be out on the tractor and we'd come back and she would make the best PB&Js on that homemade bread with homemade jam and peanut butter and jelly. And I remember her teaching me how to make the homemade bread, being so precise and making sure to fill that cup up with flour and swipe it off with a butter knife. And every time I do that when I'm baking, I think so many of her. Before Mima got sick, Tanner was leaving on his mission, and I pulled up a picture of a quilt, and I wanted to make Tanner a quilt before he left, and I showed Mima the quilt, and I was like, I want to make this, but I don't know how to make the pattern. I was like, can you help me make the pattern? And she sat there that day and helped me piece together these tiny pieces of paper, and she helped me put together all these cute little ties and the shirts on each of them. And I just, every time I see this, I see her cute fabric and all the love and time she helped me put it together, and I really appreciate that. So. One of my really good memories with Mima was when we'd always go out there in the summertime and we would sit around her big old tree with the tire swing, and me and all the girls and Riker would just play on it, and she'd be laughing with us and telling us to be careful because she didn't want us to fall. And we would just love spending time with her, and we would talk about life and what's been going on, and it was just really good memories of her, and I'll never forget them, and I hope one day I can have a big old train and tire swing for all my grandkids and stuff too to remember her by.
I remember Mima as the most independent woman I've ever met. I remember waking up with Mima at Grandpa's, and there was already eggs and toast on the counter, and I wondered where Mima was. And I looked outside, and she was already out tending her flowers, and she always had the most beautiful flowers. And she was just the most caring person I've ever met, and she would love to read Western stories to me when it was time to go to bed. Those are just some of the amusing memories I have with Mima.
I remember Mima's over easy eggs she made for breakfast. I remember her turning on the sprinkler for us. I remember her always watering the flowers or mowing the lawn or helping Grandpa on the forklift. I remember her teaching me how to sew, and I remember her all the memories we made together, from stories with her life or stories from the book.
I'm pretty lucky that I got to be the oldest grandkid, so I got to spend the most time with Mima. So, but I always like to laugh, and I think Mima did too. That's why, like, half of the time you talk to her, she was just like being sarcastic back to you. And so one time we were all out at Corinne, and I had put an elastic on like the sprayer that's on the side of the sink, so when you turn it on, it sprays. And I've been waiting, like everybody was in the other room, but I was just like sitting in the kitchen trying to not make it obvious that I was waiting for something to get sprayed. And here comes in Mima, you know, and you never know if they're gonna go to the sink, and all of a sudden she turned around to go to the sink, and I like got up because I was like, oh, I can't get Mima, right? And but I wasn't fast enough, and so she turned the water on like a full blast, and so it sprayed her, which then she just started yelling and cussing at me, right? And but she got it shut off, and she was still cussing me out, and she went back to do it again, and just sprayed herself. So I thought it was good. I was reprimanded, and then right before we left, I snuck it back on there. Like, what are the chances of Mima a third time? We like left and we're driving away, and my mom gets a call, and it was Mima, and like she didn't have to have the phone to me, like I could hear her. One of the things that made Mima so unique was that she loved all the stuff that had been broken or cast out or that other people didn't want anymore. And she'd bring it home. She had rooms of all that kind of stuff. And, she was always going to fix it, and I loved that she believed she could. There was a lot of it that she could. If she could find a book, she was 100% convinced she could get it back to going or better. And I hope my daughters are like that. I really loved that she saw value, she saw worth in things that by their appearance may not present perfectly. And I know that's how she saw us. That's why we had to bring extra chairs into this room. It's because she made you feel worthwhile. She made you feel like you were here for a reason. And I don't miss that in this
Oh, we all love Mima so much, and it's hard to see her go. But some of my favorite memories with Mima are, as we've already heard, is going to her house. And there's always freshly made bread, and she's made great sandwiches. We'd always have toast in the morning for breakfast. And I found out recently from Grandpa that it turns out she had like 7 bread makers. And she'd always go get a new one just to make sure she had one that worked or have parts to fix one that broke. Mima was always taking care of us and making sure we had what we needed. I remember as a kid, we'd always go drilling for Easter. And we'd always fly kites out in the field, and we'd always have fun and run around and play. Mima was always right there with us. I remember how much she loved her flowers and how much she loved gardening and how much she loved a grapevine that she had growing over the old equipment by the house and the old fence there. And miss Meemaw tremendously, but always remember the good times. Oh. I don't know. Meemaw was a great lady. We all loved her a lot. There was one time I remember she asked me for a drink if I bring it in while she's watching Jeopardy in the other room. And I thought I'd pull a funny on her and throw a little bit of wine in there with it. And I still remember her yelling at me. She was not happy about that. You always knew you were in trouble when you heard Meemaw start yelling at you. You knew you done something bad. But no, like these guys said, I always remember about lunchtime she'd always have that fresh bread and a good PB&J with blue Powerade ready for you. She always was willing to help you out and do whatever you needed and lend her hand whenever she could. And I don't know, she was an amazing lady and loved her a lot. We're gonna miss her. Love you, Meemaw.
Martha was my sister, one of 6 of my sisters. We've been a very blessed family. Grounded. Between the Roche family and the Bickmore family, we've merged, by the way. We've got, I can't say how many connections, but the first 2 are Dutch and Jeannie. My brother married Jeannie and my sister married Dutch. And I'll be forever grateful for that, because when you look out at all these people here, nieces and nephews, great nieces and nephews, cousins, it's amazing. Do you know that Martha had a nickname before Meemaw? I bet you guys didn't. Martha's 10 years older than I am. There was 4 of us younger, 4 girls younger than Martha before Steve came along. But we called her Fafa. I don't think we could say Martha. And so the 4 of us called her Fafa. I thought, well, Meemaw's pretty fitting because we just continued on. They just continued on the generational thing of, who are you? Why do you get a nickname? We spoke in sarcasm in my family, and that continues on with our nieces and nephews. Sarcasm, and I did not know everybody didn't speak that. I thought people knew when you were talking sarcasm. They don't, by the way. I was blessed to be able to retire 5 years ago. Again, Martha was 10 years older than I, so I didn't really grow up with her close by. And she moved to West Corinne and raised a family, and we had contact, but not close contact. Cheryl lived 2 blocks away, so we were at her house all the time. But at one point, they were raising onions and needed some help, and I said, yeah, I'll come out. Don't volunteer, by the way. Yeah. The city girl went to the country and hoed onions. And then we harvested onions. And eventually I got to actually drive the truck. Dutch wouldn't let me drive on the highway, by the way. Only in the field. But then when I retired 5 years ago, it was such a blessing that I just didn't know. You never know what God's going to have in your future. We knew Martha had dementia. Little did we know how. I guess you just think it's going to be forever before things come crashing down. But I got to spend a lot of time with Martha over the last 5 years, and we talked about everything. It was so wonderful to get to know her on such a more personal level and to learn about her life and her beliefs and what she told me about. I was 3 when we moved back in California. I didn't know anything about Roche. She told me how wonderful it was to play in the trees. So my idea is there's this hill with trees on it and a creek. I may be wrong. But that's what I imagined when she'd tell me about playing in those trees and how fun much they had and how wonderful it was. It was I just loved that I got that opportunity. We talked about a lot about God and Jesus and where we go after we die and what happens and how we can have that assurance. And Martha had that assurance. And I was so glad that I knew that. She had expressed that when, she knew when she died, she goes to heaven. She knew that. She was assured of that. She stood on that. And it was really, I never knew Martha to be really, really spiritual in that way. And yet when I had those discussions with her, I learned that. So I know where Martha is. She is standing in the glory of God. And she is rejoicing with all those who have gone before. And one day we will get to do that too. I have no doubt. She is, I know she's up there grinning. I know she's up there singing. I know she's up there with Mom and Dad and my sisters and her in-laws and Jeannie, and she's not in pain. She has her mind. Her love, she didn't take her love with her, by the way. It's still here among all of you. It's still here among her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, her sisters and brothers and her nieces and nephews. All of you will have memories and will know that love that Martha shared with everyone. Martha always amazed me. I went out to her house one day. She's under the truck on the back lawn. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, what are you doing under the truck? Changing the oil? No, she had the drive shaft off. She was, what are you doing? It's like, really? Women can do that? Guess what? Yeah, they can. And Martha did. No, I couldn't, but Martha did. She always did something that I just was like, wow, how did you do that? And she just did it. She just did it. We are very fortunate in this family and in friends to know that woman because she was great, quietly great. She wasn't flashy. She wasn't a politician. She was a wife and mother and sister and friend and grandmother and great-grandmother. And And she was great. She was great to all of us. And her love truly will go on in all of you. And I believe that with my whole heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom, for everything you've done for all of us. You've had a big part in making us all the people we are today. None of us would be the people you knew we could be without you. From our manners to our work ethic and our will to carry on when all we wanted to do was give up. Thank you for somehow always knowing when I needed you the most. And when you catch me climbing on the roofs of the old sheds of the neighbors, somehow showing up that cold day in January when the girls and I were stranded, and I was against my will. For that look you get in your eye that told me all I needed to know, and when that didn't work, you smacking your yardstick on the counter always got my attention. I love to tell the story about when I came to the house and couldn't find you. I started hollering. I heard my mom, she said, "I'm out here, Ryan." About the time I got to the red truck, I said, "Where?" She says, "I'm over here." I scared the shit right out of me. I said, "What are you doing over there?" She said, "I'm changing the starter motor." I said, "Where's Dad?" "Oh, you just missed him. He just went fishing." That's the mom I'll always remember, the one who could do anything and didn't let anything get in her way. The person who's seen the best and the ability in the people she loved, pushed for it, and never let us forget it. Thank you.
This is David Mark's due, I want you all to know. But my family, all of you, have really said it best. I just want to share with you a few things that I learned from my mom. Ryan probably did too. How do you know when dinner's done? The smoke alarm goes off. And if you think Taco Shell's can't go up in flames, you're wrong. Baby ducks can't smooth forever. My dad and my grandpa spent, I don't know how much money, pitching dimes to get all these baby ducks. He rescued them at beach days one year. And they'd been put in this tub of water to swim, a couple of them. Mom went out and noticed that the baby ducks weren't there anymore. Well, they had gone to the bottom of that bucket. And here we were coming on the tractor from kind of the south road. And when we got back, my mom was giving CPR to ducks. She never gave up. We've all talked about how Mima could fix anything, and that she loved old things and saw life in them. For me, Mima was the original Google. If I needed to know how to do something, I called Mima. She figured it out. A few years ago, Ryan decided he needed to remodel his house. And I think my mom was more excited than Ryan. She loved a good project and loved helping anywhere and everywhere that she could. She taught me to never leave home without a good book. So when Clint's like, "Why are you taking all this crap with you?" I was taught about it. She taught me not to jump to conclusions or be quick to judge. And that there's three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. And that family is everything, and friends are family. We've talked about how much she made sure we all had everything we did. And she found this couch we'll make it look good. And she did, she recovered that couch. I have no idea how she knew how to do that, but she did, and everything she did, it was beautiful. She just had this way about her, this magic touch. Many of you saw the rocking chair as you come through, and when I was pregnant with Jake, she decided I needed a rocking chair. She found that one on the side of the road one day. And she got it in that car, but my mom was a master at getting stuff in that car. You guys, if you only knew the stuff that came home in that car. She tore into that rocking chair, she put it back together, and she refinished it. And she and I have both rocked all my kids in that chair. Mima loved to bargain. She loved the yard sale, and I think everybody in the DI knew my mom by name. She's feisty. She always had a sense of humor. One day not too long ago, we were trying to get Mima to eat, and Clint had said to her, "Mima, a bird eats more than you." And she got that look in her eye and turned to him and said, "I'm not a bird." And that was just my mom. She loved to gather with people. She loved to gather with all of you. It was important to her that we gather. She loved holidays. She loved visiting with people. She was the best person to talk to. And I miss those phone calls. She had a really good friend from her days in Orchid. That my mom remained friends with her whole life. Her name's Dawn. My dad called Dawn to let her know about my mom. He told my dad, "She's the best friend I ever had." And I feel the same way. My mom's the best friend I've ever had. I miss her. I love her. And we're the people we are today because of her. And one of the things that my mom did when my grandpa passed away was write a poem. And it's called Whatchamacallit. And I am not a poet. But I found a poem that I think sums up my mom and her love for all of us really well. It's called Our Family Quilt. Our family is a patchwork quilt, a lifetime beautifully sewn. Each piece is an original with beauty all its own. The brightest patches may be new and get the most attention, but the pieces that are loved and more help give our quilt dimension. Threads of humor, faith, and love will keep our quilt together to last in love throughout the years and wrap us close together. Well, Dad, we love you. And we really thank you for taking care of our mom and loving her. And that example that you are to us. No love, that kindness. Have patience.
recommend by date, by out, and the dedication grade, by Jake.
Dear Heavenly Father, may you please bless us at this time that we can all travel to the cemetery. No harm or sin will come upon us. We thank you for everything, and please keep Mima's great memories fresh in all of our minds. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.